Hey cake chums, and welcome back to another video, and the first video in my brand new cake filming studio. It's finally finished. Actually, it's not entirely finished. I don't have any blinds on the windows yet, so the neighbours are able to watch me film, so hi neighbours. And the door is currently leaning against the wall over there. It's not actually attached yet, but it will be soon. And I also don't have any handles on my drawers and cupboards, but I've got them, they're ready. I just actually need to put them on. But anyway, it's finished enough, and today feels like the perfect time to share with you guys one of my favourite Christmas recipes. Now, I'm going to put my hands up. It's not one of my recipes. I cannot take any credit for it at all. It was actually created by an Australian baker called Donna Hay, and I will link it on her website in the description box down below. But today we are going to be making Donna's cranberry and dark chocolate Christmas cookies. What I love the most about this recipe is that you can obviously just make a batch of cookies, or you can make up a Kilner jar of all the dry ingredients and then give it as a gift. So in today's video, we're going to do that first, so that if you decide that sounds like a gift you'd like to give, you can do that. But then we're going to go on to make them as well, because I want to eat some cookies. But anyway, enough preamble, let's get to the video. I was actually given this cookie recipe as a gift in a Kilner jar by one of the kids at school a few years ago, which was really lovely. And I ended up liking the cookies so much that I asked the parent if I could have the recipe. So that's how I came to have this, and that's why I figured you guys would love it too, because it is so nice. And the flavours of cranberry and a bit of mixed spice and some dark chocolate just kind of come together to create a really nice festive kind of combination. So yeah, let's get down to it. The recipe actually calls for a 1.25 litre jar for the dry ingredients, but unfortunately I only had a 1.5 available, so that's what I'm using. It does mean that the recipe won't go all the way to the top, but you'll kind of get the idea of what we're looking for. And of course, I'm not going to be gifting mine, we're going to go on to make the cookies as well. So I hope you don't mind too much. So I'm going to start by placing the jar directly onto some weighing scales, and then we're going to just basically weigh the dry ingredients straight into the jar and build up some really nice layers. And we are starting with 150 grams of plain flour. Now while I'm doing this, I thought I'd give you guys a bit of an intro as to what you can expect from my channel, kind of now the studio's done. I know I've been talking about doing that for a long time now, and it hardly seems real that it's actually here and that I can actually start using it, but yeah, it is. So my plan is very much to carry on doing kind of a combination of the baking videos, the cake decorating videos, but also adding into the mix some of the kind of the more tutorial style stuff. I know some of you have asked for that. And also getting some guest artists to come in and collaborate with me as well. So I'm really lucky that I know a lot of kind of really amazing cake artists with loads of different skills, like modelling and painting on cakes and structured cakes and all sorts of things. So what I'd love to do over the kind of the coming months is start to get some of those guys to come in and create with me as well, so that you're not just kind of watching me and learning from the sort of stuff that I might teach in a tutorial, but also getting to benefit from kind of their knowledge and their experience as well. Of course, I'm going to do kind of more of the stuff that I also do on my blog, Mr. Baker's Cakes, the blog. If you haven't checked it out yet, the link is in the description box down below. So that'll be things like reviewing products, checking out new releases, going to events and things like that. And actually, while I'm thinking about upcoming content, if you guys would like a proper kind of checkout of the studio, so like almost like a tour, looking at some of the storage solutions I've used, some of the kind of the clever hacks that I've been able to do using some quite simple stuff actually. Most of the stuff in here is from like IKEA, or pretty much all from IKEA actually, if I'm honest. There's a few other bits and pieces, there's some stuff from like Home Bargains, B&M, things like that. It's all been done very much on a budget. But anyway, if you'd be interested in kind of having a bit of a studio tour and checking out some of that stuff, then do let me know in the comments down below. Anyway, so our first ingredient is in, there's our flour, and I'm just giving it a shake to kind of even it out. What we want is, as I say, very clear kind of defined layers between each of the ingredients. So 150 grams of plain flour is in there, and next we need half a teaspoon of baking powder. So half a teaspoon of baking powder is just going to go straight on top of the flour. And then we need 90 grams of rolled oats. Now, because this is an Australian recipe, it does have the ingredients listed in kind of cups, half cups and so on, but luckily Donna did very kindly also put the grams equivalent as well, so thank you to Donna. So I've reset my scale back to 0, we don't want to have to do any more maths than we need to, and we're going in with 90 grams of oats. So I just went to my supermarket yesterday and literally just picked up bog standard ingredients. There's nothing posh or special here, no kind of like professional type ingredients. It's all literally from my local supermarket. And I did buy it all fresh, because if you're making up a jar and you're not sure how quickly they're going to use it, I guess you want to extend the life as much as possible. There's my 90 grams of oats. And I'm just going to smooth that out with my spoon. And again, I'll show you, you can see the layers are starting to form. So resetting the scale back to 0, it's in with the next ingredient, which is half a cup or 90 grams of brown sugar. You get that kind of dark molassesy flavour that will come through from using the brown sugar, which again is kind of one of those traditional Christmas flavours. And then it is in with 1/3 of a cup or 75 grams of caster sugar. Now you could use golden caster sugar, but I've gone for white because again, I just think it would give a nice contrast in terms of the layers when I'm building this up in my jar. I've already forgotten how much I said, 75 grams. Mixed spice. 2 teaspoons, definitely not being shy of a bit of flavour here. 4 half teaspoons. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then we want 95 grams of dark chocolate chips. Those aren't dark chocolate chips. Those are dark chocolate chips. If you're not a fan of dark chocolate, you could of course replace the dark chocolate with milk chocolate, but you would then kind of lose that really nice balance of kind of the tart cranberries, the bitter chocolate, and the sweet sugar. So just be aware of that. They might be a bit too sweet. So and then last but not least, we're going in with 105 grams of dried cranberries. And there you have it. As I say, if I'd gone for the slightly smaller jar, you probably would have even better layers, and you'd hopefully have filled the jar up as well. But I have to say, having received one of these as a Christmas present, it does make an absolutely wonderful gift. So if there's somebody that you're not sure of what to buy for and you know that they are a bit of a baking fan, then you definitely can't go wrong with one of these gorgeous jars. But we're not just going to make up a cookie jar. As I say, I want to bake some cookies today, so what we're going to do now, we're going to turn this jar into some absolutely delicious festive cookies. So when you are ready to turn your beautiful jar of cookie ingredients into some actual cookies, you are going to need a couple of extra wet ingredients. Namely 115 grams of melted butter, a teaspoon of vanilla extract, and I've gone for a large, doesn't actually specify, but I'm sure I've always used a large but 1 large beaten egg. And then to actually do it, you just need to grab a nice big bowl. You could use a stand mixer, I guess, but I'm just going to do it in a bowl. And you just tip in your jar of ingredients. Step 1, add in your wet ingredients. So there's my butter, my egg, and my vanilla extract. And then we're just going to mix it all together. And we want everything completely and utterly thoroughly combined, because you want a bite of chocolate and a bite of cranberry and some crunchy oats in every single mouthful of your cookies. We're just going to keep moving them around, spreading all that liquid around. And then once you've done that, it's time to get your hands dirty. So I'm literally just squeezing the mixture together until it forms a dough. It smells so good. Seriously, these are the perfect thing to just have on hand, you know, for when people just turn up unexpectedly, as they tend to do at Christmas. You know, over Christmas, when you're just kind of sat there and you're just thinking, I'm really fancying something and I'm not sure what, I can guarantee you these cookies will hit the spot. Okay, so when it's all come together in a lump like that, then it's time to portion it out onto a greased and lined baking tray. Donna's recipe suggests that you use about a tablespoon of mix per cookie, and these are going to spread, so you do want to leave a little bit of room around them so that they don't kind of all merge together into one giant cookie. Okay, so I'm going to take my tablespoon, I'm going to roughly use it to help me measure out 1 tablespoon of mix. And I'm just going to roll it into a ball, like so, place it onto the baking tray and then just give it a little squish down. And then repeat that as many times as you can using the batch of mix that you have. So there's 1, 2, and you'll notice that when I say a tablespoon, I'm scooping a tablespoon, but it's very much a heaped tablespoon, because I like a chunky cookie. You can go smaller, but I never have. I'm going to fit probably 6 onto this tray. That's a bit too much. Calm down, Rob. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And they're going to go into the oven for about 10 minutes at 180 degrees. So I'm going to go and do that and I'll be back in 10. Just 10 minutes later, a delicious batch of gorgeous smelling cookies. Now you'll see that they are still quite thick and they do stay a little bit soft and gooey in the middle, but they are really nice and crispy around the outside, and they're so delicious. Because they are for Christmas, and you know, you want them to be a bit special, I do like to finish them off with just a little drizzle of something on top. Previously I've used white chocolate, I've used like bog standard normal like glacé icing, just icing sugar and water, and you can also use royal icing as well, which is what I'm going to use today. As a big fan of a shortcut, I'm just going to mix a little bit of ready-made royal icing with some water, pop it in a piping bag, and then we will just drizzle it over the top. They're going to be so good, I can't wait. So I've mixed my icing to about probably a slightly thick flooding consistency, because I don't want it to run entirely off the cookies. I'm just going to pour that straight into a piping bag. And then, I haven't bothered with a piping tip or anything, I'm just going to snip the end off the bag and then we will drizzle it over the cookies, like so. And then we just leave those to dry and set, and they will be good to go. Now really I should recommend leaving these completely to dry and set before you eat one, but isn't it the perk of the baker that you get to have a little preview before everyone else? So I'm just going to grab this little one on the edge here and They really are just as good as I remember. So you get the spice from the mixed spice, you get the kind of the tartness and the chewiness from the cranberries, you get that awesome texture from the oats, you get that dark chocolate kind of popping through, and then with the addition of the royal icing, you just get that little hit of sweetness on the end as well. They really are absolutely perfect. Just check I haven't got a cookie around my mouth. Now, of course, if you do fancy having a go at making these cranberry and chocolate cookies yourself, don't forget you can find the link to the recipe on Donna Hayes' website down in the description box below. And if you do make them, do make sure that you tag me on social media so that I can see too. Again, all of the links that you will need are down in the description box. Now, if you enjoyed checking out my favourite Christmas cookie recipe, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up down below. Now, before you go, you may recall in my last video I had a copy of the fantastic new book from Rhiannon Webb of Dragons and Daffodils Cakes, Cyril's Cake Adventure, to give away. Well, I am delighted to announce that the winner is appearing on the screen right now. So if that's you, make sure you get in touch with me on social media. Again, all the links are in the description box, and I look forward to hearing from you. If you weren't today's lucky winner, don't despair, because I do regular giveaways here on my YouTube channel. If you hit that subscribe button down there on the right, that will make sure that you don't miss a future video from me. And if you click the little bell icon, that will even make sure you get a notification of each time I upload a new video. If I don't speak to you before, do let me wish you all a very Merry Christmas, and I look forward to seeing all of you in the new year. Take care, guys.